Shalom. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, underneath Commander General Yohana, and we're not affiliated and associated with any other Israelite group. Tonight's class, man, is going to be another heavy topic, man. Tonight, we're going to go in on the Civil Rights Movement, man. We're going to go in on the Civil Rights Movement, and we're going to find out if the Civil Rights Movement has truly helped the Black, Latino, and Native Indian community like it says it has, man. You know, we've been told that the Civil Rights Movement was a big step for the Black, Latino, and Native Indian community, man. Salaki. You know, like I was saying, you know, we've been told that this Civil Rights Movement was Salaki. We were told, man, that this Civil Rights Movement was going to be very, very beneficial for the Black, Latino, and Native Indian community. You know, our forefathers, not even our forefathers, our grandmothers and grandfathers went and fought during the time of the Civil Rights Movement, man. You know, they went and fought for that. And we thought it was going to be very beneficial for us and help us out at all. You know, get us out of the Slovakia. Right. And so, you know, we thought, well, not even us, but Martin Luther King gassed us up during the 60s and telling us that we needed to fight for equality in America, which was very understandable during that time. And all of the things that we were enduring during the time of the 60s, man. You know, everything that we had witnessed and what we had seen going on. You know, you imagine in the 60s, somebody who was 40 years old. You know, imagine in the 60s you being 40 years old and what year you were born in and all the things that you had seen and endured. You know, if you was in the 60s and you was like 40 years old, you was born around 1920. So you can only imagine the type of racism that our grandmothers and grandfathers were enduring during those times and the things that they had to witness and see, especially if you were from the South. Like if you was from the South living during those early 1900s and the 1800s and, you know, during you was still alive during the 60s, you know, of course you would have wanted to fight for civil rights so that your people could have equality. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we went out there and marched for and fought for. And Martin Luther King gassed our grandmothers and grandfathers up into believing this was the right thing to fight for, that we should fight for equality, that we should fight so we can have a better chance in America. And Martin Luther King didn't understand that there's no such thing as equality with this oppressor. You can never be equal with the oppressor, not in his eyes. In his eyes, he doesn't believe in everybody being equal, even though they make that statement that everybody's equal. The last thing he wants is some Negro to be over him or, you know, right around his level of, you know, being a person. You know, he doesn't want us on that same level. That's why we're still considered 3/5 of a man to this day. No different when they wrote the Declaration of Independence, when they said all men are created equal. You know, blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians were in slavery. You know, we were suffering. We were living through hell. So when they wrote that bill wasn't that law, the Declaration of Independence, it wasn't talking about us being treated as men. You know, in their eyes, we were treated as animals. And so our people knew these things and had went through all of this heartache and torture and punishment by this oppressor, and they were still going through the same thing in the 60s. You know, they were still going through the same thing in the 60s. They were starving us out. We were suffering. Heroin had hit our neighborhoods. You know, we was losing our fathers in the households, our mothers. They were sprung out on heroin, and you had people who wanted to work so they could change their lives. But this oppressor who put the drugs in our neighborhoods wasn't even trying to give us a chance at surviving in this land called America. He wasn't trying to give us any opportunities. He wasn't trying to give us any of the jobs that would have helped us gain some type of financial wealth here in America. He would rather us starve and, not give us jobs. In the 60s, they were even more racist than what they were in the 40s and the 30s. You a black, Latino, Native American man trying to go get a job at a plant somewhere. You can only imagine what they might have told you when you came to fill out his application. He was like, hey, I'm trying to apply for a job. And you have an oppressor who's right there who's going to take your application. You know what he's going to do to that application. He's going to ball it up and throw it in the trash. You know what I'm saying? So we were dealing with that in the 60s. So our people wanted some type of equality. So we fought and we marched down the streets for the civil rights movement, because that's what Martin Luther King told us, that's what would help us. And we listened to that. So like, do you know how to turn on this TV up?
Turn it on.
Okay. We listened to that and we believed in it. We thought that was the way for us to be able to succeed in America. It's on the other side. Okay. I forgot who turned it on last time. We thought this was the way for us to survive here in America. Is to march for equality. So, you know what I'm saying? But we're gonna show you who these civil rights bills were truly for. You know what I'm saying? Because we were tricked into believing that us marching for the civil rights would help us. So let me get some videos for y'all. Let me get some videos to show you some of the things that happened to some of our grandmothers and grandfathers during the time of the civil rights movement, man. Let's see if this thing works. Oh yeah, I know what I gotta do. Salaki. Oh man, this smoke control was just working, but now it's not working. But like I was saying, man, it was like, we're gonna show y'all some videos, man, of civil rights. But we're gonna first let you know, if you could you get me Lamentations chapter 4, verse 17? Slack it, go on. Then you give me Lament. Oh, okay, slack it.
Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 17.
Slack it, if you could you say it a little louder for the people?
Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet fail for our vain help.
And that's what we didn't understand, man. We went and marched for civil rights, but yet our eyes still fail because of our vain help. What does the word vain mean? What does the word vain mean? Is anybody checked in onto the classes?
Got Shar, Natasha, and Ashak.
Okay, if anybody's in the video in the class, what does the word vain mean? Yeah, they got civil rights songs. You know I'm going with this one tonight. You know where I'm going with this one tonight. Cause I'm gonna show y'all something, man. I'm gonna just read for y'all a little bit about what our grandmothers and grandfathers were fighting for during the time of the civil rights movement. You know what I'm saying?
Shazak said of oneself or excessive high opinion for the vain question that you asked.
That's right. Let me see. Right, that's pretty much right. Like, and that's another word. That's in other words for Black people, Latino, Native Indians. You know, us looking for help from our oppressors doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything at all. Like, we thought they were going to help, and it didn't mean nothing. The help we thought we was going to receive for them, it didn't mean nothing. Like nothing at all. It's vain help. The help that they want to give us, it's nothing. It's trash. It doesn't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? Like no different than today. They think just because they give Black, Latinos, and Native Indians food stamps or housing authority, they think it means something. But that is vain. It means nothing. In all actuality and truth, the so-called Caucasian race receives twice as much food stamps than Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians. Truth be told, we work most of these jobs. You know what I'm saying? But the Caucasian race is on food stamps. Like where we work at in the country down there, every time we go to them dollar stores, 85% of them Edomites that come in there to buy groceries from them dollar stores have a food stamp card. I seen it today. I see it all the time. I sit back and I watch it. And they try to act a little, they don't want to show it when a Black person's in the line. You know what I'm saying? They start to feel a little shame. Like, he's like, oh man, I don't want to swipe it. You know, I seen one lady, she had the card, but instead of her swipe her food stamp card to pay for the stuff, she swiped her bank card. I seen her with it. Like, I seen the food stamp card. She was going to swipe it, looked back at me, and then reached in her purse and pulled out the bank card and swiped it. Because that's how proud they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that she didn't want herself to be associated with food stamps because everybody believes that we are the ones who are associated with it. You know what I'm saying? That's why the scripture says our vain help. Like the help we get received from these devils, it means nothing. It means nothing at all. The Section 8 they try to give us, the food stamps they try to give us, all of these things mean nothing, man. It is vain. You know what I'm saying? And time after time, they have always failed us, man. They have always failed us, man. Now, I'm going to play some of this video, man, so y'all can get a better understanding of what the civil rights movement was. You know what I'm saying? If anybody could, Sly, you got a phone up? Could you define civil rights movement, if you could? Let me get the definition of the civil rights movement. So people can get a better understanding of what the civil rights movement was supposed to be about. You know what I'm saying? Because our grandmothers and grandfathers went and fought for the civil rights movement, man. Is it the Wikipedia? Okay, Con, let me see if I got the same one you got. You can go ahead and read it if you want.
The civil rights movement in the United States was a decades-long campaign by African Americans and their like-minded allies.
By who?
By African Americans
Mm-hmm.
and their like-minded allies to end institutionalized racial discrimination, disenfranchisement, and racial segregation in the United States.
Right. So this is what the civil rights movement is supposed to be about. It is supposed to be about ending racial injustice towards blacks, towards Hispanics, and towards Natives and Indians. You know, because they don't like to tell you that it wasn't also just all black people marching. You know, there was so-called Latino brothers and sisters who took part in this also because they were suffering just as we were. You know, you have, huh? Okay, kind. You can read that too. But I want you to hold that one because there's something in that one that's very important. You got
a comment?
Come.
Shazak. He said the civil rights movement in the United States was a decade-long campaign by African Americans and their like-minded allies to end institutionalized racial discrimination, disenfranchisement, and racial segregation in the United States.
Right, that's what the brother just read. Appreciate that too, Kazak. The water, Kazak.
And Ayana said it was a struggle for social justice.
Fact. She said it was a struggle for what?
For social justice.
Right. That's what we were fighting for. We were fighting for social justice. You know, that's what we thought it was about. Now go ahead and read the rest of that out.
This one says, American Civil Rights Movement, mass protest movement against racial segregation and discrimination in the southern United States that came to national prominence during the mid-1950s. This movement had its roots in centuries-long efforts of enslaved Africans and their descendants to resist racial oppression and abolish the institution of slavery.
So this was something we were fighting for centuries. We were fighting for civil rights for centuries. No different than the Civil War, all of these different things we were fighting for to end racial injustice. You know, because we were being treated horribly. Now let me show y'all some of the things that we had to endure during the times of these things. If you could you slide this camera over just a tad bit to show this? If you can look on the computer, you can see if it hits this TV screen. All right, okay. Now I'm gonna show y'all some of these things.
On a mission to a place he called.
Let's see what Martin Luther King said.
King Jr. came to Birmingham, Alabama in 1963 on a mission to a place he called the most segregated city in the United States.
To dramatize this blatant injustice and to demand that the federal government not put a cent in this city unless it decides to face the realities of desegregation.
In the nonviolent demonstrations that followed, King and hundreds of protesters were arrested. They were pressing the city to eliminate laws that sought to keep blacks and whites separated in schools, restaurants, and many other public places.
Did you hear that?
Black and white separated.
Martin Luther King civil rights movement was fighting so we all could come together. His fight was so we all could start to come together. He wanted to desegregate. He didn't want segregation anymore. He wanted all of us to come together and hold hands and be one. This is what Martin Luther King's fight was about. But they didn't tell us this back then. He wasn't notifying people about this back then. He just was telling us that we're fighting so we could end the racial criticism and all the racial discriminations that is put towards our people. But they did not tell them that Martin Luther King was really trying to fight to end the segregation. He didn't want us to all be separated, when that was the main reason how we were able to survive back then. Because we knew who was oppressing us, we knew who was killing us, and we knew who our enemy truly was. But Martin Luther King wanted to fight to end all of that. Does that make any sense to anybody? For somebody to fight so you could come sit at the same table as your enemy? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. Why would you want to go sit down and eat dinner with the same person who's murdering you and killing you in the streets? You go into the jungle, you don't see the gazelle trying to go sit down and eat next to the lion, do you? You see the gazelle trying to get the hell out of there because he knows the lion wants him on his dinner table. The gazelle has enough sense to know that, hey, I am his prey and he's the predator. But Martin Luther King brainwashed us into believing that we were all supposed to come together, setting us up and leading us right to our predators, man. Like, he was setting us up on the carving board to be delivered right to our predators, man. Right to the people who hated us, man. I'm gonna let y'all listen some more on this trash right here.
Historian Robert Corley says King and the local civil rights leaders needed this strategy to succeed.
There had been no movement whatsoever in this city toward any form of desegregation of any of its institutions. And so King was saying, if we can win in Birmingham, if we can come to Birmingham and prevail, then we can win anywhere.
King and his followers were met with fierce resistance from the police. Public Safety Commissioner Eugene Bull Connor, backed by the majority of white residents, was determined to stop the demonstrations. Without enough volunteers to continue the protest, King and other leaders enlisted hundreds of young school children to keep the marches going. And
did y'all hear that? What kind of coward move is that, man? What kind of coward move was that? Martin Luther King didn't have enough adults who wanted to protest it, because the older adults knew that this was trash. All of those older adults who were born in the 1800s, you gotta understand, this was in the 60s. So imagine all those older adults who were 70, who were 60, who were 80, who was in their 50s, who was in their 40s. You know what I'm saying? They were sitting back like, what in the hell are you doing? Why do you want us to go march to join these people? So guess what happened? He lost a lot of people. They didn't want to protest with him. So what did Martin Luther King go do? He went and got young school children, man. Young school children. You think about that before you try to go out here and parade Martin Luther King around like he's something to glorify. He's a coward, man. He went and got young school children to continue on with this protest. And let's watch how they did these young school children at these protests, man.
Gathered here on the steps of the 16th Street Baptist Church and hear inspirational speeches from civil rights leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. They would then file from the church and walk across the street to a park where they were determined to demonstrate peacefully for equal rights.
I was arrested after we got about a block away from the church in this area.
Janice Kelsey was 16 years old when she and her schoolmates were jailed.
My mind was made up.
Come on, man. Do you think General Yohana would send children out there to do the work that men are supposed to do? Come on, man. This is what your Christian pastors do, man. They put your children in danger. This sister right here was 16 years old and was arrested for trying to follow behind Martin Luther King. Because Martin Luther King loved Caucasian women. He got our young daughters back then incarcerated. 16 years old, man.
I was going to participate. I was going to go to jail. I wanted to get my freedom.
Then on the second day of the student demonstrations, things turned violent. Police turned high-pressure fire hoses on the young people and set attack dogs on them. Birmingham civil rights leader Reverend Calvin Woods was there.
There had been some dog biting, some beating, some killing. Many people were beaten and spit on and put in jail, lost jobs. But those were minor things.
What in... Did you hear this cold-hearted bastard man? He said people were killed, beat, dog bite. Did you see the young brother get sprayed with the water hose so hard that it had him rolling on the ground? That was the pressure from the water hose. This brother said there were killings, bitings, people were incarcerated, lynchings, and he said that was a minor thing. He said that was a minor thing. And you say we should follow these Christian leaders and these politicians. This is the problem with them, man. The things that happen to us in the streets, to them, it seems minor. It doesn't bother them that much. To them, these are minor things. And you wonder why when black people are murdered and shot in the streets, Latinos are murdered and shot in the streets, Native Indians are not receiving justice on these reservations. You wonder why you never hear from your Christian pastors. Because to them, these are just minor things. These are just, just a little small thing. Oh, somebody got killed? That's nothing. Somebody got sprayed with a water hose so powerful their skin came off? That's nothing. Oh, somebody died? How many people died? About 10 people. Those are just minor things. But this is what they don't talk about. Those were school children, man. Those were teenagers. School children, man. They were out there getting beat and tortured for what Martin Luther King thought was right, man. For what Martin Luther King believed was the best thing for blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians. He thought us joining our enemies was the best thing for us, man. Just to turn around and have cold-hearted bastards like this say the beatings and the dog bitings and the water hoses that we were sprayed with and the deaths that happened at the civil rights movement were just minor things. Come on, man.
Compared to what we felt we had to do.
The brutal crackdown was widely televised, and images of the event were seen around the world. Robert Corley says this incident galvanized new support for the civil rights movement.
It was really that children's crusade that really turned the tide, because it did serve the goal of filling up the jails and forcing the white community to come to the table with King and negotiate some sort of settlement.
Eventually,
Man, I'm getting disgusted more than this, man. Did you hear what he just said? He just said those children were the only reason why they sat down with King, because it started to be broadcasted all around Tilaki. That's a shame. It had started to be broadcasted all around the world on television on how these oppressors were doing our children, man. You know what I'm saying? This was being broadcasted on all of the televisions, man. Sure, sir. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was being published all around the world on how they were doing our children. And this bastard had the nerve and audacity to say that this was just a minor thing. And this is what you don't understand. Like they said earlier in this interview, that Martin Luther King had a strategy. He had a plan. And guess what his strategy was, man? When he couldn't get those grown adults to march with him and protest no more, he went and got their children. 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, people that were in high school, man. These were children. Martin Luther King went and gassed them up in them churches and convinced them to go on those streets and get beat. That's what he told them to do. They went on the streets, they marched, they protest, they got their heads cracked open, they got attacked by dogs, they got lynched. All type of horrible things happened to them. But this was all part of Martin Luther King's strategy, man.
That's right.
It was all part of it. Like they just said, it had worked what he thought. You know what I'm saying? What's it like, sir? I was showing that. Like, I don't know if they can see it though. Like, this was all part of Martin Luther King's plan, man. I'm gonna rewind this back some, man, because you have to listen and hear what this bastard said, man.
About a block away from the church in this area.
Janice Kelsey was 16 years old when she and her schoolmates were jailed.
My mind was made up. I was going to participate. I was going to go to jail. I wanted to get my freedom.
Then on the second day of the student demonstrations, things turned violent. Police turned high-pressure fire hoses on the young people and set attack dogs on them. Birmingham civil rights leader Reverend Calvin Woods was there.
There had been some dog biting, some beating, some killing. Many people were beaten and spit on and put in jail, lost jobs. But those were minor things.
Did you hear this bastard, man? He said those were minor things. Look at this face, man. Look at this face, man. That is the face of somebody who's lost, man. That is the face of a traitor, man. This brother said black people being beat, losing jobs, being killed, water hoses sprayed on them, dogs being sicked on them. He said these were minor things. But this is what they don't talk about. These were children. If you had seen a little bit before this, these were young children, man. We talking about maybe 10, between the ages of 10 to maybe 17 to 18, man. These were children, man, getting water hoses sprayed on them. Like, do you know how cruel and diabolical these bastards are, man? This brother said that this was a minor thing, man. Come on, man.
Compared to what we felt we had to do.
The brutal crackdown was widely televised, and images of the event were seen around the world. Robert Corley says this incident galvanized new support for the civil rights movement.
It was really that children's crusade that really turned the tide, because it did serve the goal of filling up the jails and forcing the white community to come to the table with King and negotiate some sort of settlement.
Come on, man. This was a goal for Martin Luther King to achieve. His goal was to get these children locked up. His goal was for people to see how they truly do us in America. But he didn't go out there and get his goddamn head cracked open. He sent our babies out there, man.
That's right.
He sent our children out there. Just like the sister said, when she went out there, she was 16 years old, man. She was a teenager and got sprayed with water hoses. Dogs attacked on her.
God damn.
Spit on. 16 years old, man. And you got to understand something. Back then, they were not in that same mentality as we are in right now, man. They don't have that mentality like a lot of these young generation does now. Like now, we kind of off the chain a little bit. Like Esau spit on you now. Well, I ain't gonna say that. It's still kind of, I don't know. I mean, some devil will get knocked out if he spit on you now. You know, he'll be like, I just seen a video where a devil spit on a brother and the brother hit him so hard he died. You know, that's kind of terrifying for Esau to see something like that happen. But our people didn't have so much. I'm not gonna say all of us, but a lot of us were really trying to follow this peaceful protest Martin Luther King wanted us to follow. And like he said, man, it was a goal for him when he seen all of these children be incarcerated and locked up.
Oh, right.
Because he wanted the world to see what they were doing to us. But just like their brother said, it was a minor thing to them.
So, like, if I could,
Kind of what kind,
what's
sir?
so heavy about what you're saying is because you said, because there is a big difference between now and then. Back then, Martin Luther King, and it happens today, but probably not as much as it did in the 60s, because like over time, like it seemed like we become more militant.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even with the crack and all of the stuff that came in, the heroin and all the stuff that came in over years, we seem more militant in this time period.
Kind of kind.
Right? But then Martin Luther King was leading some of the biggest gatherings in the earth. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about in the earth.
Kind of what kind.
Like because it went from small black communities, you know, going and doing small things, you know, going around talking, passing out flyers and stuff. Then it turned into a thing where it was like every nation was involved with his so-called gatherings of you know, for civil justice or whatever you want to call it, civil rights and all of that. So that was like one of the biggest, and the biggest group that supported that, of course, was our own damn people.
Christian church.
Just shows how soft we was in that time period. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, there were probably some out there that was like, there most likely there was some out there that was militant, like, nigga, I ain't following Martin Luther King. I ain't, forget that nigga, Salaki. Forget that nigga, I'm not following him. You know what I'm saying? But a majority of our people thought his route was the best way, just because they was afraid, man. Of course, we not talking about going out there and trying to go to war with them, even though, you know, some of us have done that. But just more or less like the way he's doing it is not how we do it.
Right.
And it's such a weak thing to go and march. Like, what is getting your legs and your calf muscles strong gonna do to the white man?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Walking up and down that street for exercise is all you doing, man.
Kind
Just
of
like
kind.
you brought out last year.
Kind of kind, sir. Kind of kind. Like I don't want to saying it's so heavy, man. Like none of that stuff helped us at all, man. Marching, walking up and down the streets, you know, getting beat on for what? For what? So that what can happen? Like you said, I don't want Martin Luther King. Like I never forget the image when Martin Luther King was at the was that the council? Was that the council building where they stormed the council? And you know, he had thousands of people out there.
Good.
He had thousands of people out there. You know what I'm saying? And people were following him. They gathered when they went to go march on Washington. It was so many people out there, man. Tons of people out there. But they didn't even understand this was a part of Martin Luther King's tragedy, man. Good night, man. Get our babies beat on so he can go sit down with the oppressor at his table and eat lunch and sit on his toilets.
Eventually, King and Birmingham city leaders reached an agreement. Within months, the local segregation laws were abolished. Reverend Wood says King's determination to keep the movement going made all the difference.
But we would not have accomplished what we did if it had not been for the support and leadership that Dr. King brought.
The Birmingham campaign was a climactic battle of the civil rights movement. For many, it stands as as an iconic symbol of the sacrifices made by King and thousands of African Americans. Chris Simpkins, VOA News, Birmingham, Alabama.
For those who are at the back of the line.
Attention to the evil situation to turn their adult lives. In the band is Martin Luther King.
What's so psychotic about what he said is because he said, it sounded like he said, you know, we wouldn't, everything wouldn't be the way it was if it wasn't for the contributions of Martin Luther King, right? And he said that like something good happened.
Right.
And that's how psychotic and distraught we are as a people, because the only thing that Martin Luther King's whole dream and his march contributed to black people was drugs, murder, and crime, man, and being even furthermore oppressed by our oppressors.
Kind of kind.
You know what I'm saying? And so him to say that with a straight face like that, he was just really truly them niggas that was after that dream. And it was like, you know, when a man says Martin Luther King's dream was right and he did the right thing and this and that, these are all niggas who love America, man. These are all niggas who just wanted to do what he wanted, which we found out in the FBI files. He out there messing with white girls. That's what they want. That he looked like he's a smooth faced nigga too. He looked like he want to mess. He probably messed with him a few white girls over time as well. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that really is, and it's so psychotic of him to say that while we're still getting shoot down and gunned down in the damn streets like it ain't nothing, and our women are aborting babies and everything, man. It's just horrible. I just to hear him say that, and that's the definition of a coon right there, man.
Kind.
Like that's a real coon. Like some brothers are lost, and then some brothers just got the spirit of Judas in them, or just got that spirit of hatred towards their own people. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's all I want to say about it.
So like, so that's heavy as hell out of one. Cause that's the spirit that this brother has, man. Like, they think that we have actually won something with this civil rights movement. But if you could you get that definition of the civil rights movement on Wikipedia again? The first one.
The civil rights movement. The civil rights movement in the United States was a decades-long campaign by African Americans and their like-minded allies to end institutionalized racial discrimination, disenfranchisement, and racial segregation in the United States.
All right, go ahead. You can keep going.
That's all there.
Okay, kind. It's supposed to be a second part.
Yeah, that's all I got.
I'm going to read the second part for you. All right, the second part of that article, it says, the movement has its origins in the Reconstruction era during the late 19th century. Although it made its largest legislative gains in the mid-1960s after years of direct actions and grassroots protests, the social movement majored nonviolent resistance and civil disobedient campaigns eventually secured new protections in federal laws for the human rights of all Americans.
There you go.
So what we just seen happening to our people wasn't just for African Americans. It was for all Americans. Even the Caucasian people who out there. Like they didn't even have to they were the ones doing the beating. They were beating us just to turn around and be like, hey, listen, man, you know you beat them in the streets? Yeah, you got civil rights now. I've been had civil rights.
It's a lot here about this. It's so heavy, and this is crazy because black people don't know this. You don't know that if you grew up in that time period, or if you're in this time period, you support the works of Martin Luther King, you literally just support. You went out there and got your ass beat for gay rights, women rights, every rights, because those are all civil rights.
Ooh,
you understand? So you was out there getting your water hosed down and dogs sicked on you so that you can help them, them homosexuals and them women and everybody else. foreigners and all of them gain civil rights. But you was the one getting your head knocked over, not some homosexual. You know what I'm saying? Not some woman, a white woman. It was all you was getting your head knocked open because you thought that you was getting rights to be a black man or a black woman in this earth. Like that's how crazy it is. That's how disgusting it is. Like it wasn't even for the plight of black people. It was for the plight of everybody else as well. And like nigga, you got the short end of the stick, but you had to go out there and be like the damn sacrifice. You had to go out there and get put in jail or killed or lynched or whatever for all of that marching and stuff behind it. Like it's crazy. But you think all of this was for black people? Nah, it was for everybody.
Good night.
Dang.
Another one. What you said was so heavy because that goes right into what I'm about to bring out next. We're gonna find out who these civil rights movements was truly for. I'm gonna read another article for you. In the title of this article reads, it says, select. Could you straighten that camera back up for me? Good night, man. Let's find out who Martin Luther King had us marching for to get civil rights. All right. This is from the Washington Post. And it reads, it says, excuse me, Salaki. Biden calls for LGBTQ protections in day one. Executive orders angering conservatives. So who was getting angry when Joe Biden wanted to get protections for the LGBTQ community? Can anybody take a wild guess? Y'all want to answer? Like who got angry when they found out Joe Biden was trying to get protection for the LGBT community? Anybody can take a wild guess?
Black community.
You say what up?
Black community.
You say what up?
Black community.
That's who got angry. That's who was really angry about this. They said angry conservatives. In other words, angry niggas. Negroes were angry when they found out Joe Biden got in the chair and said, you know who else gonna get protection? That man who likes men. You know, now he doesn't have to worry about people talking about him being gay. Now the civil rights movement is going to protect him. That was a spit in the face of all of these people who made this sacrifice. You think about that when you try to... Martin Luther King did a great thing for black people. He did a great thing for homosexuals too. Now homosexuals don't have to worry about people speaking against it when it goes against the Bible. The Bible doesn't go against you for being black and trying to survive, but the Bible does go against you for sinning and trying to be a homosexual. The Bible doesn't go against you for trying to work and trying to strive and trying to do better for your family and kids, but the Bible does go against two men being together. But yet, guess who gets to receive protection from the Civil Rights Bill? The LGBT community. This is what this march was about. So other nations and homosexuals can receive the same type of justice that black people are supposed to have. Because last time I turned on the TV, I didn't see any homosexuals getting lynched by dogs and being set on in all of these harbors. I didn't see the rain. Did anybody see the rainbow flag in this thing right here? I didn't see it. I didn't see no flags. I just seen black people getting beat and dogs sicked on them.
So like if I
Come, sir.
It's just such a spit in the face to black people, man. You don't even realize it. It's such a spit in the face to black people because first off, you was born black.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You was really, like your DNA, your anatomy is black. You can't help that. You was born and you had to go out there and get your head knocked around a few times or whatever, you know what I'm saying, because you was a nigga. You know what I'm saying? But a homosexual, nobody's born a homosexual.
Right.
Like nobody's born a homosexual. That's something you choose to be. You know what I'm saying? If you get knocked up in your head, outside your head for being a homosexual, you didn't have to be the homosexual. You know what I'm saying? But we come out and we get knocked upside the head for being black.
Right.
So now when they go out there and they saying we want rights as gay people. We want to have our rights. And they're getting rights passed for them, and they ain't got to get knocked upside their head. You know, I ain't seen no homosexuals marching and getting knocked upside the head, dogs sick on them, water sprayed at them or nothing.
Right.
If you seen a video, let me know. I ain't seen one. You know what I'm saying? And they get their rights passed. They don't have to go through none of that. You know what I'm saying? But we had to go through all of that, and it's just because we were black, man. You understand? So it's just that's a horrible thing. It's a lot.
It was nice. It's heavy on the one.
They hate us in this place, man.
And it's like black people who don't see what Biden doing as a spit in the face, you still lost. Like black people celebrated when Dirty Joe got in the chair, Joe Biden, Salakia, when he got in the chair. They thought we had achieved some type of victory. But Joe Biden isn't like Trump. Trump is a straight out witted devil. He lets you know I'm a devil and racist. I hate people. But Joe Biden does things a little different. He does things that's sneaky. He does things that the average person wouldn't be able to catch on to. You know, he do things that maybe politicians might get angry about. And he know that it's going to bring brothers such as ourselves in the UPK to a point where we be like, good night, this is what they doing. Like, look at this. But he knows the average black, Latino, or Native Indian person, they're not going to understand this when it goes to Joe Biden passing protection laws for homosexuals. They just going to be like, well, you know, everybody should be able to choose what they want to choose. But they don't understand the things that our people had to go to and endure. They don't understand it. If you could you give me Lamentations Chapter 4, verse 17 again? They don't get it. They don't understand, man. You know what I'm saying? Like Martin Luther King sold us out, man. He sold us right up the damn river, man. So like, you got a Bible up?
I got you.
Okay, come.
No, you already got it? Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Lamentations Chapter 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Right, and our eyes failed for vain help, man. For a nation that could not save us, man. America could not save us, man. That's what Martin Luther King thought what was going to happen if we received civil rights here in America. He thought us getting civil rights from America would help us, man. He thought it would help us out a lot. He thought it would put us at a better position in life. It'll help us out. We'll be able to get better jobs. You know, we'll have better homes. We'll be able to live better and everything. But he didn't understand that help that he was trying to receive from these oppressors. It was vain help, man. It was vain help. And now in 2021, our eyes failed for this vain help, man. Because when we seen Joe Biden pass this bill, like they said that it was a bunch of angry conservatives. But in all actuality, it was angry older black folks. Older black folks who might have marched in the civil rights movement. Older black folks who understand what the civil rights bill was truly supposed to represent. They were angry about this, man. You know, do you really think that the homosexual community was mad about this? Do you really think the Asian community was mad about this? Do you really think the Caucasian community was mad about the civil rights bill? No, guess who was angry? It was older black folks who understood what this meant when Joe Biden passed this bill, man. When he wanted to grant homosexuals protection. Because now they started to get it like, God dang, this is a slap in the face. You know, this is really a slap in the face. You mean to tell me all of that marching and all of that things that we had to go through with being sprayed with a water hose and having dogs sick on this, all of them things we did to get this type of civil rights movement pushed, now these homosexuals can receive the same thing? Like, good night. Like, come on, man. This is why we cannot put our faith and our trust inside of America, man. We cannot do it, man. Because they're going to always fail us all the time, man. They're going to fail us each and every time. It's not going to be one time that they're not going to fail us. It's going to happen time after time after time after time. Martin Luther King thought we was going to get something done, and it failed. The Black Panthers thought they were going to get something done, and it failed. Jesse Jackson, when he tried to get in there, he thought he was going to get something done, and it failed. When all of these black leaders failed, guess who our people ran to next? To the oppressors. They ran right to the oppressors. Come on, man. Oh, it's like you. If you could, could you get me the book of Leviticus, chapter 20? So, like, I think it's verse 13.
Leviticus.
Hold on, real quick. You ain't got to read it yet. Now, I'm gonna read the rest of this article. So, like, throw out for that too. I'm gonna read the rest of this article before this, though. All right, and this article reads from the Washington Post. It reads, Biden calls for LGBT community protections in day one of his executive order, angering conservatives. So, like, we told y'all. The UPK told y'all when y'all went out there and voted Joe Biden in the chair. We told y'all that Joe Biden had something up his sleeve, man. We told you Joe Biden had a plan for blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians. He wasn't as upfront with it as Donald Trump was, but he had something up his sleeve. And on the first day of him being inside the chair, he pushed for protection against the LGBT community. Ooh. Like, I'm gonna read this article. All right, it says on the first day in office, President Biden issued a sweeping executive order, making it clear that gay and transgender people are protected against discrimination in schools, healthcare, the workplace, and other realms of American life. Come on, man. Good night, man. Notice one thing he didn't say in this article. Notice one thing Joe Biden did not say when he was giving this speech. He said gay and transgenders. He didn't say the black community. He didn't say the Native Indian community. He didn't say the Latino community. He just said gay and transgender people. Little you know who he's truly fighting for. Salaki. I'm going to keep reading. It says, the executive order outlines a broad interpretation of last year's landmark in the Supreme Court ruling that gay and transgender employees are covered by the Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. I'm going to read that again for you. It says the Supreme Court ruling that gay and transgender employees are covered by Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1967 or 1964. And what was happening in 1964? What we just seen on the video. Our children being beat. Ooh, like it. Our children being beat. Our children being incarcerated. Our children having dogs sicked on them. We did all of that just so in 2021, gays and transgenders can be covered by the same bill. So some man who thinks he wants to be a woman and goes and get his private cuts off is covered by the bill that was supposed to protect black people from Caucasian people. This same bill, which was supposed to give us equal rights in America, now gets shifted over to the transgender and gay community. If Martin Luther King was alive right now to see what his dream had turned into, he probably would have killed himself, man. He probably wouldn't. He probably would have been happy. Because, you know, this is what he wanted. But Martin Luther King's dream was a nightmare for the Black, Latino, and Native Indian community, man. It didn't serve us any justice having this civil rights bill being passed for us, man. It didn't help us at all or anything, man. Let me keep reading the rest of this article. It says, the Supreme Court ruling that gay and transgender employees are covered by the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibits discrimination. So the Civil Rights Bill was truly created to stop discrimination towards the Black, Latinos, and Native Indians. Now, my question to anybody that's in the chats on the computer, did discrimination against Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians stop when the Civil Rights Bill was passed? Anybody in the class, I'm going to see if y'all going to answer, man. In 1964, when this Civil Rights Bill was passed to stop discrimination, did the discrimination stop amongst Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians?
So like Chupa Aisha said, La sir.
Khan. Anybody else in the class want to answer? Did Khan, you got it. Discrimination did not stop against Black, Latinos, and Native Indians. It actually got worse. The incarceration rate had increased to the millions. America is famous in the world for having the most people incarcerated inside of their prison systems. And guess who makes up majority of their prison systems? Anybody want to answer? Come on, Blacks and who else? And Native Indians. We make up this prison system. But the Civil Rights Bill was supposed to stop discrimination. Do you know how many brothers and sisters have been locked up for false charges because some cop was discriminating against them? Do you know how many brothers and sisters have been murdered by police officers because police officers were discriminating against them? But we thought this act in 1964, which was the Civil Rights Act, was supposed to stop all this discrimination.
Right.
This was supposed to put an end to the police brutality. This was supposed to put an end to the brutality that we were suffering at the hands of our oppressors.
That's right.
This is what the Civil Rights Bill was supposed to stop. But I remember turning on my TV last year and watching Ahmaud Arbery run down the street for his life and being shot in the stomach by a shotgun by some random oppressor who thought he was stealing. But discrimination was supposed to stop. Ahmaud Arbery was murdered and killed because two devils were discriminating against him. Tamir Rice was killed because some trigger-happy devil was discriminating against him. Michael Brown was shot in his head in the streets of St. Louis because some police officer was discriminating against him. But yet, Martin Luther King's dream was for him to pass this Civil Rights Bill. Just in 2021, Joe Biden gives that protection, which was supposed to be for Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, he gave it over to the LGBTQ community. He gave it over to two men who like sword fighting. He gave our rights that we marched and got beat and murdered for in the streets over to two women who want to kiss on each other. That's what the Civil Rights Bill is, man. The Civil Rights Bill movement is a slap in the face.
That's right.
To Black, Latinos, and Native Indians, man. You make sure you remember that next time somebody tells you, let's not forget the Civil Rights Bill. Go ahead, Al, you got it.
I just want to it's even more than that. Like, cause gay people, they can't reproduce. So really, they don't want humanity itself to go on. You know, like they don't want us to produce and grow. They, you know.
Come on, man. That brother said was heavy, man. Homosexuals don't believe in life producing, man. Like, they adopting babies now. Did somebody see the video, the picture, where it was 3 Edomite men, and they were all in a relationship, and these homos went and adopted a baby, man. They're gonna raise the child up in their household. Like, come on, man, this is sick, man. Come on, man. Like, they giving our children over to these homosexuals, man. You got 2 gay men raising a little boy. 2 gay men raising a little girl. You got 2 women in a household raising small children. Some woman in there who thinks she's a man is pretending to be children's fathers, man. Acting as if she's the man. And I'm not saying it's right when a brother hits a woman, but I kind of understand why you might see a lot of these homosexual lesbian women getting knocked out by men when they try to portray themselves as men. Because I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand where a brother slapped. And I'm not saying what he did was right, because we don't believe in putting our hands on women. But in the world, I was looking at it like, damn, he slapped her. You know what I'm saying? Like, he slapped a woman. But later on, I found out that this woman was living in a household with his child's mother, with his children's mother, 3 children, a young boy and 2. It was 2 boys and a girl. And the mother allowed the woman to come in the house, and the woman was supposed to be the man in a relationship. And it got bad to the point where the baby mother put the father on child support. And it was because the girlfriend, the lesbian who was the man, told her to do it. So while he was paying child support, he was coming to get his children from the hood. And the day that he wanted to come get his children, the lesbian intervened while him and his baby mother were arguing. She stepped in and said, "You ain't gonna talk to my girl. You ain't gonna talk to my woman like that." And he told her, he was like, "Get out my face, you a woman." And she said, "Nigga, I ain't no, you ain't gonna just try to push me around." And he told her again, he said, "Hey, get out my face." And she didn't get out his face, and he ended up slapping her. And he slapped her so hard, you would have thought she got punched. Like, he slapped her back to reality. Slapped her so hard, she got Bambi legs. And she had to hold on to the car. I remember I was watching. I was like, when he slapped her, I was like, oh, it sounded off. And he slapped her, and she stumbled forward, stumbled back, then grabbed onto the car. And the first thing she said was, "Call the police." First thing she said, she got slapped that hard after she stumbled, got it back, Cupid shuffle, and she put her hands on the car. She said, "Call the police." Go ahead, Art.
I just want to say, she did something and she couldn't accept the consequences. My bad. The consequences of that, and that's the same thing with the whole LGBT community. They want to change their body part and do this, but they can't accept what came with that. Like how a lot of black people had to accept just what come with being black. They can't accept that,
Right.
It's sad, really.
Right. Come on, that's heavy, y'all. And that's what these homosexuals are starting to understand. Like, you have these women who want to be men, but they're not willing to deal with the things that come with being a man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's right that the brother put his hands on the woman, because we don't teach that. But like he said out there, he said, you want to be a man. He said, you want to be a man, you got treated like a man. And even though the brother slapped this woman, his baby mother still didn't call the police on him. She didn't call the police on him. But the lesbian girlfriend who got slapped that hard went inside the house, you know, while stumbling, went inside the house and wanted to call the police on him. But I'm just saying that to say this, like, with Joe Biden giving these LGBTQ communities all of these rights, he's making them more into a monster. He's making them more into a bully. Because they didn't have to go out there and fight hard and work for those rights that they received. These rights was just given to them. And this is what Joe Biden knows about the LGBTQ community. Slacking. He know a lot of people that support that are Caucasian men. He knows there are a lot of down low Caucasian men who are happy to support this. No different than there are a lot of Caucasian lesbian women who love to support this. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you Black, Latino, or Native Indian, and you in the LGBTQ community, whatever community, it was like you didn't receive these rights. You think you received these civil rights. These civil rights are not even for you either. These were for you before this even happened.
That's right.
Now you think you won something because the gay community gets it? Come on, man. You're going to be a Black homosexual and still get treated the same way.
Right.
You know, you're going to be in the car, they're going to be like, police going to pull you over. The homosexual man going to be like, I got rights. And the cop like, you just a nigger. Mace him in his eyes, and he starts making girl noises, and the cop just beat him like a man. You still going to go to the man prison and all of that. Like, no matter what you do, even though you're a homosexual and you classify as whatever you classify as, the Caucasian community is still going to treat you like an N-word, man. They still going to treat you like a Negro.
That's right.
They still going to treat you like a Hispanic, a wetback, a savage. They still are going to treat you like these things. Because even these devils know that law isn't truly for the Black, Latino, Native Indian community. This law is just for Caucasian people. Now we can't call Caucasian people gay in the public no more. Come on, man. But a lot of y'all went and voted for Dirty Joe. Could you read that scripture you got up? Exodus 20 and 13.
Leviticus, right?
It's like Leviticus 20 and 13.
Leviticus 20:13. If a man also lie with mankind.
If a what?
If a man also lie with mankind.
So if a man also lies with mankind, go ahead.
As he lieth with a woman.
Like he lays with a woman. How does a man lie with a woman? It's like you said, what up?
Yeah, sex with her.
That's right, because when you lay down with that woman, young children, that's where babies come from. I hope there's no children in class. Slagia. But that's where children come from.
Right.
Now, when two men lay down, I don't know what the hell comes from there. It ain't no children. It's just a mess and a bunch of funk. Funkadelic. Good night. Slager. Ugh. Did anybody bring Febreze? That's all I'm saying.
Like incense.
Oh, you gotta be careful, because you might start a fire from the fumes. I remember a story. So like it's kind of messed up. I don't want to put the brother on blast, but the brother, we stayed in Greenwood. The brother had to move from Greenwood to out of town. All right, we were young. We was in the streets when I was in the world. We was young. We was teenagers, maybe like 18 and 19. All right, so we had a partner. I ain't gonna say his name, but we had a homeboy. He had a house. He was the youngest out of all of us. He was like 18, and he had his own place. And his place was where we went to and drank and, did worldly things, smoke, drink, chill, call over girls. This was his house. So, you know what I mean? Like, I had been over there a couple times with a couple of shorties back in the day. You know what I'm saying? This was a long time ago. No, my rib probably. This was a long time ago. Salagia, but so I had been over his house a couple times with, you know, a couple sisters back in the day. We chilled and drank and it was cool. So me and some of the brothers were like, you know, we're gonna go over there and see what's going on. So we went over there, we was like 10 deep. We knock on the door, brother's like, damn, why you answer the door? So, you know, we got hood with it. We did the stump on the door. Boom, 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 boom. So he comes to the door. He's like, hey, what's going on, y'all? We're like, what's up, man? We trying to come chill, man. You know what I mean? We trying to come over and kick it and see if it's straight. And he was like, nah, man, this ain't a good time. But when he opened the door, noticed this smell. It was kind of funny a little bit. I was like, it smelled like somebody done broke a sewage pipe in there, son. So, you know, we was like, yo, we can't come chill. He was like, nah, can y'all come back later? We was like, shit, man, we ain't got nowhere else to go to. So in the midst of us saying that, before he could even say something, you hear somebody in the background say, I was about to say his name. They said, so-and-so, what you doing at that door? I thought you was coming back here. But the voice was the voice of a man. And when we heard it, I'll never forget how me and my partner, how we looked at each other. We was like, hey, bro, we'll just get back with you, bro. We'll just get back with you, bro. He was like, nah, it ain't nothing like that. Y'all can come in. She was like, nah, bro. We good. And we left. We got in the car, and you know what we were talking about the whole ride. Did anybody else smell that? I know I ain't the only person that smelled it. That was a dude, wasn't it? Man, that was a man. That was the voice of a man. You know what I mean? And then, you know, rumors came out, moved back and forth, and it came out that he was a homosexual. He was on the down low, you know what I'm saying? It got to the point where it was so bad he had to move. And then I seen him up here one time. And I guess he must have thought I forgot, but I did not forget. I did not forget that smell, that horrible aroma, which burned my nose hairs. But I say that to say this, like, even back then, man, being a homosexual wasn't something to glorify amongst the Black, Latino, and Native Indian community. We never glorified that lifestyle. Only when Obama got in the chair, that homosexual lifestyle became something to glorify, man. It became something that was considered honorable, a badge of honor to be a homosexual. You know what I'm saying? And then you had Joe Biden, you had Barack Obama, and that's just more proof to show you he's not one of our people either, man. Because if he was one of our people, he would have understood the struggle and the things that our people endured during the civil rights movement. And he would have never pushed that law for homosexuals to be married. He would have never pushed it. And he would have never got to the point where he felt like homosexuals need civil rights. Because he was pushing for it too. But then Trump came along and Trump got rid of all of that crap. Trump said transgenders can't be in the army. You know, we don't want any homosexuals in the army. And the LGBTQ community was in an uproar about it. So when they got Trump out the chair, they put Biden in. The first thing Biden do on his first day in the office is grant protection for homosexuals, man. Like, he gave protection to homosexuals. And what did he use to get them protections? The Civil Rights Act. The same Civil Rights Act that our grandmothers and grandfathers went and marched for in Washington and in Alabama and all of these various little small country towns and all of these beatings that they took. That's what happened to our people, man. Trying to listen to Martin Luther King, man. So like I said, what's that scripture, the dream of dreams? Is that Jeremiah or is it? I think it's,
I know which one you're talking about.
I'm not mistaken, it might be Jeremiah 35. I might be wrong.
You talking about the Martin Luther King dream?
Con, sir. Oh, it's 23:25.
Jeremiah 23:25.
Con. If you could you get me Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 25? Martin Luther King, man. Martin Luther King's dream, man, was a nightmare for the black community. Martin Luther King's dream gave homosexuals power, man. It gave the LGBTQT community power. It gave them power, man. Just like Joe Biden, he elected a transgender to be over mental health in America. What in the hell?
Which is select if I could, which makes no sense at all. Because that right now, because you know, homosexuality used to, and I think it currently is, but I'm not sure.
Can okay.
You know, that used to be considered a mental disorder.
That's
why it makes no sense.
It's like you got somebody who has a mental health issue and put him over mental health. Okay. This is the I love this comparison because it is startled many. This is the comparison of a transgender. All right, a transgender is somebody who thinks there's something else. Like it's like a man who says he's not a man, he's a woman, and he transitions himself over to a woman. Or it's a woman who says she's not a woman, and she transitions herself over to a man. Now I like to give this as an example. If I came outside in a chicken costume and clucked up and down the streets and plucked at all type of things, like if you threw bird on the ground, if you threw bird seeds on the ground, I would eat the bird seeds, cluck, and even act as if I'm trying to lay an egg. What would you say about me?
It's like this man is a fool.
What kind? Like you would say this nigga is out of his mind because I'm trying to be something that I'm not.
Right.
That's no different than the LGBT transgender community. It's no different than the transgender community. These are people trying to be something that they're not, man. These are men who say, I'm a woman trapped inside a man's body. What in the hell is you talking about? You've been watching too many Tyler Perry movies. They say he most definitely been dropped on the head. Like these, come on, man. You a man, you a woman trapped in a man's body. What the hell is it? What are you talking about? Like it's like they did the Captain Ginyu body switch. I'm telling y'all, I'm not who you think I am. Like, so who are you then? I'm Goku, but I'm in a frog's body. Like, nigga, you smoking crack. That's what you're doing. Come on, man. Like nobody sits back and observes that but the ISUPK. When we hear people say stuff like that, we know it's a demon.
Damn right.
We know it's a demon. That's how demons talk. I'm a man trapped inside a woman's body. No, you a demon inside of this woman's body.
That's right.
And General Yohana has taught us, man. He's carried on what our King Yahushua HaMashiach carried on. And he's given us those same strength to fight these demons off of our people, man.
That's right.
To wake our people up, man, and let them know, man, you are not a woman trapped inside of a man's body. You are a boy, Damon. Good night.
That's right.
Come on, man. And then guess what Joe Biden did? Joe Biden goes and push laws to help build up the confidence of Black Latinos and Native Indians who believe that they are like that. You know what I'm saying? You know how many people don't decided to come out the closet? I mean, it was a brother we went to school with. You know what I'm saying? One day things were cool, and then, you know, next thing you know, you see him coming down the street with blue hair. You like, what the hell is going on? Like, people just started coming out the closet, man, because they felt like they finally got some type of rights, man. Now they don't got some type of rights. And how did they get them rights? The civil rights movement, man. The civil rights movement. The marching that our grandmothers and grandfathers did, man. which was for us to stop being mistreated in America. And that's a spit in the face to black people. For all of you people who went and voted for Joe Biden, him pushing that law is a spit in the black community faces, man. Because now he's telling you that, hey, guess what? Homosexuals need the same rights that y'all got. You mean to tell me some man who wants to go inside of another man, we supposed to support that? Why do you think when you turn on your television now, the only thing you seeing is all type of homosexual activity? You can't even watch a good movie without some type of homosexual activity going on, man. It's because now Joe Biden has pushed for homosexuals to have civil rights. Now you finna find out who's the real bully. I mean, you thought these Trump supporters was bad. They were bad, yeah, they were bad. But you finna find out firsthand in experience that this LGBTQTURSV community is finna give you hell. It's finna give blacks hell, Latinos hell, and Native Indians hell. Because now they have somebody who's going to back them. And guess who's going to back them? America. America is going to back them. This is what the civil rights movement was about. It didn't have anything to do with the black community. It was so that heathens and homosexuals could receive the rights that we were dying for, man. That we were getting sprayed with water hoses for. And in 2021, we still don't receive civil rights, man. You know why Kamala Harris is vice president of America? It's because of civil rights. It's because of our grandmothers and grandfathers marching. That's why Kamala Harris is able to become the vice president of the United States of America. And she's not black. She's a heathen.
Right.
She's what do they call them? South Asians? Whatever the hell that is. That's an East Indian with a red dot on their head. The civil rights was for them to be able to receive rights. The civil rights was for those who were in Vietnam, who wanted to leave Vietnam and come to America and build a better life. You wonder why you got a Chinese restaurant in every black neighborhood. You wonder why you got a Chinese hair store in every black neighborhood. Or a Chinese nail store inside of every black neighborhood. It's because of civil rights, man. You wonder why you got them Chinese restaurants which are serving you deep fried puppy paws with fried rice in your neighborhood. It's because of civil rights, man. This is what civil rights truly was for. It was not for the black community. It was for heathens and homosexuals. That's who it was for, and that's who's benefiting from it now. I'm gonna get y'all another article, man. Salaki, matter of fact, you got Jeremiah 23 and 25. Read that aloud, Ak, if you could, huh?
Jeremiah 23, verse 25. I have heard what the prophets said that prophesied lies in my name.
What they said? What did the Most High say?
I have heard what the prophets said that prophesied lies in my name.
So the Most High has heard what the prophets said that prophesies lies in His name. Go ahead.
Saying, I have a dream.
They say what?
I have a dream.
They said what?
I have a dream.
Who said that, man? Who said, I have dreamed? I have dreamed. Who said that? See if anybody in the comments in the class can answer this question. Because the Most High said, whatever prophet has said this, he's speaking lies in His name. See if anybody in the comment section can answer this. Who did we hear say, I have dreamed, I have dreamed? So nobody ain't answering the class. It's like I let somebody in the class answer. Y'all know who said that? What so-called prophet said, I have dreamed, I have dreamed?
Martin Luther King.
You said who up?
Martin Luther King.
Ooh, we get that brother a hand. Martin Luther King. This is a prophecy against Martin Luther King. Your Christian church doesn't know this. Your Christian church doesn't know the Most High was against false prophets like Martin Luther King, who spoke lies. Who spoke lies saying that I have a dream, I have a dream.
So like if I could, Sister Yaila and Sister Zamara and Aisha also as well said Martin Luther King. Also, Kazak Shapar said Martin Luther King.
Kind of a kind. Hey, get him a hand. That's right, Martin Luther King. In other words, Martin Luther Queen. Because his fight wasn't for black people, it's for the transgender community. Go ahead, out. You keep reading. 26.
Verse 26. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies?
Read that again from the top.
How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies?
They prophesied what?
Lies.
Martin Luther King's dream was what?
Lies.
The civil rights movement was what?
Lies.
These were all lies, man. All of that was lie. His dream was a lie. The civil rights movement was a lie. All of it was a lie, and it was trash and garbage. You know how we know? Turn on your TV. Turn on your TV. Do some research. Find out who's the most incarcerated. Find out what black, Latino, or Native Indian person got shot on the news today by some trigger-happy police officer. Turn on your TV and see. Go ahead, you can keep reading.
Yeah, they are prophets of the deceit of their own heart.
They are what?
Yeah, they are prophets of the deceit of their own heart.
And that's what Martin Luther King did. He was the prophet of deceit. He was the prophet of lie. He deceived our people, man, for his own heart, for his own personal gain. The civil rights movement didn't have nothing to do. It was called Martin Luther King. It's an interview he did, man. He said, this nigga crazy, man. This nigga said he got tired. He went and marched and protest because they couldn't watch the new movies at the movie theaters. He said, I seen them and they had the movie theaters and they had the nice movies that came out. And I wanted to watch it, but we couldn't watch it. And they had swimming pools, and I wanted to swim in it, and I couldn't swim. And I'm like, nigga, you telling me we watched our people get beat on TV because you couldn't go watch a movie? Go ahead, goddamn. That's a true fact. Damn right. Damn right. Like a little boy, like he see Esau get a piece of candy. He's like, hey, I want a piece of candy too. You don't get no candy, nigga. Get out of here. Martin Luther King got us beat because he wanted to go watch a damn movie because he couldn't swim in the white. You mean tell me the white swimming pool is better than the black swimming pool? That's a fact because I can't swim either. You mean tell me that white bathrooms are better than black bathrooms? Let me tell you something. Today we seen the difference on the white and black bathroom. We went into a Sphinx and we seen the white bathroom. It was disgusting. Then we went into a black bathroom where the sister was working there and she cleaned it. The floor was mopped. She even had the little sign up. She said sprinkles are for cupcakes. You know what I'm saying? She's like, you don't piss on this toilet, in other words. Right. You know what I'm saying? The floor was mopped. It smelled like pine. So I was like, God damn. This is a clean bath. I could eat a plate of food in this bathroom. You mean to tell me their bathroom is greater than our bathroom? Come on, man. I know plenty of y'all done went to them bathrooms and seen them Edomite bathrooms.
So like if I could.
Come on, sir.
You step up in a salon that a sister owns. You go in that bathroom, that mother clean.
That mother clean. It's like
It's clean. You go upside a white man's restaurant, fast food, wherever you want to go to, grocery store, you understand, gas station.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I guarantee you, it's piss all on the floor. It's dirty everywhere, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, what would we trading? Why would we trading our own businesses to be able to go up in them nasty places, man?
Good night.
That's what I don't understand.
Con, sir. Saliza. I still don't get it to this day. Like, what in the hell is so good about Esau's bathroom? You know, now you ain't got to just worry about Esau's bathroom. Now you got to worry about the East Indian bathroom, and that is a nasty bathroom. An East Indian bathroom? Con, you got it up.
Have you been in Mike and Jack's restaurant?
Oh, man. I have been in it, and I can promise you, somebody has died in that bathroom. I go in the bath, I'll be like, damn, this is the house of horrors. I be looking on the ground to see if I'm gonna see a chalk outline, a needle. I'm like, I don't even let my dad. I use the bathroom. Hell no. Like you might sit on a needle. Them East Indians, I don't know who worse, Esau or them East Indians. God damn. I don't know. What's the Elam? Elam a nasty bastard. Elam is truly nasty. Like, and then some of them have the nerves and the audacity to fry chicken. I pray you understand what I'm telling you. Like, don't eat the chicken. Like, come on, man. Martin Luther King was a dreamer of dreams, man. You know what I'm saying? The Most High knew Martin Luther King was speaking lies, man. Martin Luther King was speaking lies, man. He wanted his own personal lust to be fulfilled with the civil rights movement. He wanted that publicity that comes from, you know, like all Christian pastors want. No different than the brother in Greenville. What's his name? Bruce Wilson. I call him Bruce Willis because they got similar bald heads. I call him Black Bruce Willis, but his name isn't that. But even with that brother, they was downtown protesting with the Black Panthers. But they had children inside of the protest, man. While you got brothers marching with guns inside of the protest, I'm like, why do you have children in here? And then they had somebody in a damn wheelchair. I was like, what are y'all doing, man? Like, these false leaders, man. So like, could you read verse 30 on chapter 23, verse 30 up?
Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 30. Therefore, behold, I am against the prophets, says the Lord, that steal my words, every one from his neighbor.
Go ahead.
Behold, I am against the prophets, saith the Lord, that use their tongues and say, he said.
Come.
Behold, I am against them that prophesy false dreams.
What did the Most High say?
Behold, I am against them that prophesy false dreams.
Read that again.
Behold, I am against them that prophesy false dreams.
The Most High was against Martin Luther King, man.
That's right.
The Most High was against Martin Luther King. And I know Big Mama at the house like, oh, if Big Mama tuned in the class, she probably turned the video off now. So these some wicked niggas right here. But God was against Martin Luther King, man.
That's right.
That's why he got shot in the head on that balcony. Because the Most High was against him, man. The Most High knew what Martin Luther King was doing was going to destroy our people, man. Mm-hmm. The Most High knew this already. He knew Martin Luther King was pushing lies, man. Just like we seen early in that video, man. You seen the results of that, man. You seen how some of these Christians were talking on that, man. That Christian brother said, Even though our people got dogs sicked on them, even though some people died, they lost jobs, they got sprayed with water hoses, he said those were minor things, man. Those were minor things. And then he had the audacity to say, that's what we believed. Who's the we he was talking about? He was talking about the people that was with Martin Luther King that was around him all the time. He was talking about Martin Luther King and those other Christian pastors who believed what Martin Luther King was talking about was right. The Most High was against him, man. If you could, give me Proverbs chapter 2, verse 22. The Most High was against Martin Luther King, man. The Most High already knew Martin Luther King was going to destroy us when he thought he was doing the right thing by bringing us in with these heathen nations, man. Matter of fact, if you could, give me that scripture.
Proverbs chapter 2, verse 22. But the wicked shall be cut off from the earth.
The what?
The wicked shall be cut off from the earth.
And that's what happened to Martin Luther King, man. He was cut off from this earth because what he was doing was truly wicked, man. Was truly wicked. He wouldn't have made us fight for the civil rights bill. We went and fought. We went and marched. You know, we took all the... And then this the worst thing about it. It wasn't even adults doing this marching, man. These were babies, man. Between the ages of 10 and 16. I'm talking about, you look on the video, you got little kids this tall, man. Maybe 9 to 10 years old. Going out there marching, man. And got arrested. Got sprayed with water hoses. Had dogs sicked on them, man. And you don't think that traumatized them young children at the age of 10, 11, and 12? And what do you think they did for something to help them get through the pain that they were dealing with in life? You think they went and talked to a therapist? Huh? You said what up? You said they went and did what?
Heroin.
They went and did some heroin, man. They went and did some heroin. They went and smoked some weed. They went and snorted some cocaine. This is why the Most High cut this wicked man off named Martin Luther King. Because Martin Luther King destroyed us more than what he ever thought he did. He thought, this ain't going to be too bad. We got to make a sacrifice. But he didn't ever take one time to think to himself, how are these children going to feel after they took this beating? How are they going to feel after they got incarcerated? How are they going to feel about themselves, man? What type of self-esteem issues some of these children were dealing with? Maybe some of the mental health that they were dealing with. You get hit upside your head with a billy club. You think you're going to be normal after that? And these were children getting hit by grown men. Imagine you 10 years old and you get hit by a grown Caucasian man across your head with a billy club. You think you just going to get up and shake it off? Just like they showed in the video, it was a sister laying in the grass and everybody was around her. What you think happened to her? You think they pushed on the ground? No, they clocked upside her head, man. People dealing with concussions. People not never being right after getting hit upside the head. The brain damage. The PTSD. Come on, man. Martin Luther King destroyed us worse than what y'all think, man. And y'all think we wrong when we get on the streets and we say Martin Luther King was a traitor to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Martin Luther King helped destroy us, man, by joining hands with our enemy, man, and pushing this civil rights bill. Look at the black communities today. How many households are single-parent households? Or how many households have two women laying in there pretending to be men? Or two men laying with each other pretending to be a family? All of this is the result of the civil rights movement, man. All of this, man. black people being on the police squad. All of this is the result of the civil rights movement, man. Come on, man. Like, I don't get it, man. I don't know what else we should tell y'all about this, man, but listen. The civil rights movement was most definitely a joke, man. So, like, read that scripture again for me out if you could.
Proverbs chapter 2, verse 22. But the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressors shall be rooted out of it.
Right. Hey, give me Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 3. I'm going to finish it off with that one. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, come on, man. It's sad that we had to learn this type of way about the civil rights movement. Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 3. It's sad that a lot of our people had to find out the hard way that the civil rights movement didn't mean us any good at all, that it wasn't beneficial for us, it didn't help us out. You know what I'm saying? It's sad, man. It's sad for 2021. The Civil Rights Movement Bill was passed in 1964. Let me do some math and find out how far that long that was ago. You're right. 50. It's one off. 57 years. It took people 57 years to find out that the Civil Rights Bill was not for us.
That's right.
Come on, man. How many
people still don't realize that it ain't for us?
They don't. And it's hard to talk to some of them old heads. We went and marched with Brother Martin.
Shit, like, I remember my dad, I had a conversation with him today about some of this. He always wanted to bring up, I remember when I was younger when they did the march. You remember the march that they did out here when we was young?
In Greenville?
Yeah, the Million Man March. It was and he always bring that up like that was something.
Farrakhan don't got rich too. Farrakhan another big pimp. If you got that scripture, could you go ahead up? Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 3. And like the brother said, man, his father says he remembers all those marches and everything. But then you turn around, you ask your parents, do y'all think anything has changed since those marches? They gonna tell you no, ain't nothing changed. Everything's still the same. Con, if you got it, you can go ahead and read it.
Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 3. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams.
That what?
Or that dreamer of dreams.
Martin Luther King was a false prophet and a man who was a dreamer of dreams. Martin Luther King said, I have a dream that one day little black children are going to hold hands with little white children. Martin Luther King, I got another story for you. Now you got to worry about people holding hands and a rainbow flag popping out. You can't hold hands no more because it might be a little, I ain't going to say what I want to say. You know, right. You ain't going to say it on camera because, you know, you got some people who their feelings get hurt. But Martin Luther King, little black boys and little black girls are not the only people holding hands now. Now you got now you got men holding hands together. Ooh-wee. And it ain't because they trying to be cool with each other either.
It's like if I could say something.
Come on, sir.
I know you about to wrap it up, but I just want to say this. If anything you should get out of the so-called Civil Rights March, you understand that Martin Luther King led and all the so-called political and civil activists back in that time period, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, all of them guys. You know what I'm saying? What you should do, and this is therapeutic, man. This is definitely for any brother and sister that is trying to break out of the Christian church and come into this truth.
Right.
Just take a good look at the conditions of that time period, right? During the time that he was doing all this marching and all of the civil unrest, and look at it right now. Look at everything post 69. You know what I'm saying? Everything post the death of Martin Luther King. Just look at all of the events that came. You know, the crack epidemic. You understand the gang wars. You understand the opioid epidemic. All of the things that you see going on right now. You know what I'm saying? The police brutality. That is the result of civil rights.
Right.
It's the results. You understand? Because, and they don't understand the spirit behind the civil rights, man.
Right.
They don't understand that this is literally a nation of people who are supposed to be separate according to the Bible.
Damn right.
According to our God, man. You understand? Pressing our enemies to allow us to join us.
Damn right.
Now, when you read, and just not too long ago, we just got done, you know, doing the memorial of Purim, of Purim. You know what I'm saying? Give that a hand. You know what I'm saying? Even them in that time period, right? They lived in the land of their oppressor. They lived under Osiris.
Right.
But they were still practicing the laws of their God, of our God. You understand? Our people were still practicing the laws of our God. We were serving our God. You understand? We remained separate. You understand? In Egypt, all we wanted from Pharaoh was to go and be able to worship our God.
Right.
Pharaoh knew the power of what the Hebrews, he knew the type of power that we could have if we served under the Most High. You understand? So separation is something that we've always, like being segregated is something we're supposed to always be doing because it's righteous and it's holy. You know what I'm saying? But somebody like Martin Luther King, when he pushed all of that, the idea for us to integrate schools and integrate, this is like him just whining like, I don't like being treated bad, so I'm about to go stick it to the man type thing. I don't want to get treated bad. Like millions and millions of black people ain't getting discriminated against. But you, this one man, you upset and angry that you can't walk inside of a white-only coffee shop and get you some coffee, you know what I'm saying, and wave at a white woman.
Yeah,
now you gotta
right.
lead black people into prison and getting hosed down and lynched and all of that. This is what you should gather from civil rights, man. What you should gather from it is that it was the most evilest thing that one man could do to a nation of people.
Good
You
night.
know what I'm saying? And just like the brother said, the Lord took him out for that, man. And the Lord is just, and when the Lord, that's how you know that it was a bad thing. It was an evil thing.
Right.
That's how you know it was an evil thing. You know what I'm saying? Because this man and then not only died, he died in a horrific way. Man was assassinated. You know what I'm saying? And even after his assassination, guess how many millions of black men and women have been assassinated on the streets? It's all because of what he led. That's what he led. So like it.
Good night, Khan. Hell yeah, hell. I don't Khan. And with that, oh, you got go. All right. ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister comes into school, they are off limits for 6 months. It's like they are to be saluted only. They're here to share themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. So like, there is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 through 21, Malachi 3, chapter 8, verse 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew, Ma'asharah. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations, which would be the Passover. It'll be Saturday, April 24th, 2021. You can read about, this is the 14th day of the first month. You can read about this in the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 1 through 51. The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 4 through 5. 1 Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 7 through 8. 2 Corinthians, chapter 30, verse 17. All right. Remind occupant Aqua to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a troop in the school, to start wearing all black boots, shirt, pant, headbands, and a scarf. And with that, Shalom.